right now on Jewish Voice with Jonathan Bernis.
The Palestinians are not ready to accept our birthright to our land. They want to actually take our place.
Shalom and welcome to Jewish Voice, where we help you to discover the Jewish roots of your Christian faith. I'm Jonathan Bernis, and joining me today as a special co-host is Shay Wilbur.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much at home for joining us today. You know, Jonathan, Jerusalem is mentioned nearly 800 times in the Bible. Did you guys know this? Why is the city so important, though?
Our guest today has some astonishing insight. He's a senior Israeli diplomat, and he's the former Israeli ambassador to the United States. He's also the founder of Truth About Israel. Here's more background on our guest, Danny Ayalon.
Daniel Ayalon is a former Israeli ambassador to the United States and has played instrumental roles in Israel's foreign policy in the last 3 administrations. He is a native of Tel Aviv and a retired captain of the Armed Corps. He and his wife Ann have 2 children and live in Sharon, the heartland of Israel.
Joining us all the way from Israel, please welcome senior Israeli diplomat Danny Ayalon. Danny, welcome back. Great to have you with us again.
Good to see you.
It's so great to have you back. And look at you, my co-host, my new co-host. You've grown up.
Oh, thank you. I feel that way about your kids.
I've known Shay since he was a little girl. But Danny, it's a real honor to have you here.
Honor is mine.
And thank you for coming. Help set us straight, because our audience, many in our audience are confused. We're seeing all the rhetoric against Israel, the Goliath trying to subjugate a people. Why should Christians stand with and pray for Israel?
Very simple. Standing with Israel, praying for Israel, is standing with God, is siding with the right side of history. It's siding with the truth. And we are in the trenches for all of us, because, you know, where God put us, in our land, in Judea, in Israel, it is there, it is on the front line against radical Islam. We are the last stop from radical Islam to take over Europe and then subsequently the United States.
As I hear Netanyahu say all the time, Prime Minister Netanyahu, we're the big Satan. You guys are the little Satan.
Right.
Yeah.
What I love about the fact that we have the scriptures is that you can rewrite history, but you can't rewrite the Bible. The record is there. And if you take out the promises given to the physical descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to the Jewish people, you have origami. You can't do it. That's what I want you to understand. You can't do it. If you believe in the Bible, it's an all or nothing deal. And the Bible's very clear. This land is an eternal inheritance given to the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
It's so hard, too, because I find myself in conversations with millennials a lot of times. And I think for millennials, the world isn't as black and white as it was for maybe our parents. So it's hard for them a lot of times to understand when they see the news, they see what's happening in the media and how things are skewed. Why should we stand with Israel? What would be your response to them?
Well, it's very unfortunate, Shay, because today the millennials, all of us, are being bombarded by fake news.
Yeah.
We are bombarded by very, very vicious, with agenda news. And it is all being backed by an enormous infrastructure of 57 Muslim countries, 22 Arab countries. And of course, at the tip are the Palestinians. And they are not ready to accept our birthright to our land. They want to actually take our place. So what they do, they just reverse history. So if the Jews were the chosen people, all of a sudden, they are the cursed people. If the land belongs to us, no, it belongs all of a sudden to them.
It's completely changing it.
It's just the reverse.
It's crazy.
And actually what they're doing, they're repeating the Nazi propaganda. Goebbels, which was the propaganda minister, he said, if you repeat a lie 1,000 times, it will become the truth. And this is what they're doing.
And there is a connection here, by the way, between Nazi propaganda and Muslim Arab propaganda. We need to call out the truth here. Listen to this. This is a quote from Mein Kampf, which was written in 1925 by Adolf Hitler in prison. And he wrote, "The personification of the devil as the symbol of all evil assumes the living shape of the Jew." That's in Mein Kampf. And Danny, this is now a bestseller in the Muslim world.
Yes, it is. It is because this is what the Muslims and the Palestinians predicate their entire philosophy, their entire propaganda, their entire foreign policy, diplomacy, and everything else. And unfortunately, we are outnumbered. There are 57 Muslim countries, 22 Arab countries, which are keep trying to reverse history because they understand what the Nazis thought they would do is just erase the Jewish people from the face of the earth.
Well, let's dispel a myth right now, because I hear this over and over again, and I'm sure, and millennials are hearing it all the time, that anti-Zionism has nothing whatsoever to do with anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism is no longer politically correct.
Right, it's like the backdoor way, I feel.
Exactly. But anti-Zionism, you know, supposedly you are fighting a colonial, imperialist power against poor, occupied Palestinians.
Right.
Now, what is Zionism? Zionism is the return to Zion. Zionism is God's word. And what we are doing is really not only fulfilling the prophecy, we also are trying to make peace. Even though it is our land, we are willing to share it with the Palestinians. But for them, it's all or nothing. They don't want us there at all. And this is why they are building the story about quote-unquote occupation and settlement and again, being a brutal power, which is nothing further from the truth.
But what's crazy to me is that you literally have, I mean, I work in media, it feels like the entire world against Israel sometimes.
Because, again, there is an automatic majority for the Arabs, for the Palestinians, because of the sheer numbers. So they basically hijacked the UN, all the UN organizations, and also a lot of the media.
Talk about the biblical foundations, because they go all the way back to Abraham.
It's our land by promise and decree of God. It was God 4,000 years ago who told Abraham, this is your land. This is your land. And took another 1,000 years until King David, by the help of God, created a real nation, a sovereign nation with Jerusalem as the capital. And since then, it has always been only Jewish. Anyone else, and you know, through this history, the vagaries of history, there were many wars, many empires that came and left, all those great empires that at some points vanquished the Jews. By the way, also according to prophecy, whether it was the Babylonians or the Persians or the Assyrians or the Greeks or the Romans or the Ottoman Empire, all the way, they're all gone. Gone. The Jewish people has endured. And again, we were dispersed to 4 corners of the world. We are back from all corners of the world. This can only be an act of God.
One of my favorite scriptures, Jeremiah 31, as long as the sun shines by day and the moon and stars by night, they declare that God will sovereignly preserve the Jewish people. Hey, we have to take a break, but our guest host, Shea Wilbur, and I will be right back with senior Israeli diplomat Danny Ayalon. Don't go anywhere.
Just as God hardened the heart of Pharaoh when Moses said, let my people go, he hardens the heart of the Palestinians.
Here at Jewish Voice, we are dedicated to proclaiming the good news that Jesus is the Messiah, to the Jew first and to the nations. We share the gospel at festivals around the world, and we also provide life-saving medical help to Jewish people living in dire poverty. They need to hear the gospel and receive medical care.
That's why your financial support is crucial. For your donation of $35, we'll sow 3 special resources into your life. First, we'll send you this handsome Pray for the Peace of Jerusalem plaque. We'll also send you a DVD of the award-winning film The Miracle of Israel and the companion study guide filled with prophecies about Israel and the last days that you need to know. And if you become a new monthly partner for $25 or more, we'll send you all these gifts, and we'll add this olive wood Israel wall art, only available at Jewish Voice. Call now to receive all of these gifts with your new monthly partnership of $25 or more. You can also donate $100 to receive all these gifts. Specify offer 1941, or please specify offer 1858 when giving a one-time gift of $35 to receive these 3 gifts. You can also go to our website, jvmi.tv, with your gift of support, or write to us at Jewish Voice, Post Office Box 6, Phoenix, Arizona 85001.
My guest host Shea Wilbur and I are talking to senior Israeli diplomat and former ambassador to the U.S., Danny Ayalon. Ambassador, I want to talk about a movement that's been spreading through the United States called BDS, Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions. Can you explain that to us? I don't know if many people understand what that is, but it's a very critical issue.
Well, BDS, its sole purpose is to destroy Israel and the Jewish people. The Arabs, our enemies, Palestinians could not do it through military means, because thanks God we can defend ourselves by ourselves, not through economic means. With our technology we have a very strong economy. Also with God's grace now we found even oil and natural gas in our economic order. It's just amazing. So they continue their strategy but with a different tactic, and the tactic is a political warfare, trying to render Israel a pariah state, isolate it, weaken it, so we will have no friends. And mostly what they try to do is drive a wedge between Israel and our best friend and ally, the United States. So this is why they're very active here. And what they capture is, unfortunately, the imagination of the younger generations. Because either ignorance, they don't know the facts, or they're trying to appeal to their sentiments, how they have to be with the underdog, with the poor people, with the deprived people, for justice. You know, who doesn't want to fight for justice? But justice is with us, because had the Palestinians wanted peace, we would have had peace long ago. We were ready to compromise. There's no other people in the world that is willing to give so much of their own land to a different people just to make peace. We have
Are you seeing this in your age group?
Well,
Are you
this
seeing
is
BDS?
what's so crazy is that this BDS movement really does appeal to the millennials and to the younger generation, because like you said, you mentioned the poor, the social injustice, and of course a lot of this information is inaccurate, it's unsubstantiated, it's completely incorrect. And
you know, Shay and Jonathan, it's also the nature of the media today.
Exactly.
They do not show the vicious attacks of Palestinian terrorists against children and women in Israel, whether it's through rockets or through terrorism, whether it's knifing, whether it's suicide bombing. You always see in the media Israel's response.
Retaliating, defending.
Right. So it's a matter of self-defense.
Yeah.
This is our right. This is our God-given right. It's also our right according to the UN Charter.
Yeah.
But what every other nation can do, they try to deprive it from Israel.
And this is what I think is so important about shows like Jewish Voice and other programs like this, because there needs to be this dialogue in the media when it seems like, you know, we're the little engine that could here, trying to like get across the truth though. And it's so bizarre to me that this is the truth. This is the reality of the situation. And we're going up against, it's like David and Goliath, you know, we're up against the Goliath.
For those of us, and most of the people watching who are Bible believers, the great majority, we understand, because our eyes have been open to this. This is spiritual warfare. This is an attack against the Jewish people. This has gone on since the time of Abraham. Destroy the Jewish people. And we've survived because God said, I will preserve you as a nation before me. What about Christians, Danny? There's Christians. Maybe you're watching and you believe that BDS is biblical, that everyone should be treated fairly and equally, and that Israel should give away land for peace, which we know doesn't work. How do you respond to people watching who aren't convinced yet that BDS isn't a biblical or right thing to be involved in?
Well, first of all, don't take it from me. Take it from the originators of BDS, a guy by the name of Barghouti, who says this is a way to destroy Israel since they couldn't do it militarily. And what they're trying to do through really manipulations and cheating, what they're trying to do and inspire the younger generation by telling them it's just for justice.
Yeah.
It's just for the poor Palestinians. But it's not. It's to destroy the state of Israel. There's no other way around it.
Share some of the concessions that Israel's made, though, because Israel's made so many efforts for peace and to be just.
Sure. Well, we go back 70 years when the UN decided to partition the land just to make peace. Even though the land is ours, we agreed to partition the land, a Jewish state and an Arab state in what is the mandatory Palestine. We were ready to do it. Palestinians did not agree. The Arabs did not agree, and they attacked us. But we won. In 1967, they tried to attack and destroy us again. We won again. And not only that, Jonathan, every time we agreed to give the land that we won rightfully, to give the land to these people. In 2000, if I just talk about recent history, in 2000, Prime Minister Barak, former Prime Minister of Israel, offered Arafat everything he wanted, including dividing Jerusalem. Guess what? Arafat did not agree. Why didn't he not agree? Because he wants everything. The same thing repeated in 2008. Just about 9 years ago, in Annapolis, another Israeli Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, offered Abu Mazen. Arafat is already gone. Abu Mazen, who replaced Arafat, offered him even more. He did not agree. And I think, Shay and Jonathan, this is also biblical prophecy. Because just as God hardened the heart of Pharaoh when Moses said, "Let my people go," he hardens the heart of the Palestinians. Because I believe, had the Palestinians accepted all our compromises back from 1947, we would not be here today.
Do you think the intention is still to eradicate Israel?
Absolutely.
Is Gaza a good example for us of what happens when we give back land?
Gaza is a great example because, again, for peace, we gave Gaza to the Palestinians in order to change the dynamics to make peace. What did they do? They made it as a platform, as a launching pad of rockets and terrorism with tunnels against us. But you know what? Look at what they teach their children. And it's not just Hamas. The Palestinian Authority, Abu Mazen, supposedly he's the pragmatic for peace. Look what they teach their children. They teach their children from first grade all the way to university that the land is theirs. And they say, we do not just claim the West Bank. We claim the Negev. We claim the Galilee. We claim Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv for them is a settlement.
It's crazy because it really, truly is all or nothing. You know, they're not going to be happy until they have all of it, despite Israel's efforts to really make peace here.
And that's the truth. Hey, we have to take a break. When we come back, my guest host Shay Wilbur and I will have lots more with senior Israeli diplomat Danny Ayalon just ahead.
Each and every one of us can be an ambassador for the truth, can be really an apostle, a man of God.
Here at Jewish Voice, we are dedicated to proclaiming the good news that Jesus is the Messiah, to the Jew first and to the nations. We share the gospel at festivals around the world, and we also provide life-saving medical help to Jewish people living in dire poverty. They need to hear the gospel and receive medical care.
That's why your financial support is crucial. For your donation of $35, we'll sow 3 special resources into your life. First, we'll send you this handsome Pray for the Peace of Jerusalem plaque. We'll also send you a DVD of the award-winning film, The Miracle of Israel, and the companion study guide filled with prophecies about Israel and the last days that you need to know. And if you become a new monthly partner for $25 or more, we'll send you all these gifts, and we'll add this olive wood Israel wall art, only available at Jewish Voice. Call now to receive all of these gifts with your new monthly partnership of $25 or more. You can also donate $100 to receive all these gifts. Specify offer 1941, or please specify offer 1858 when giving a one-time gift of $35 to receive these 3 gifts. You can also go to our website, jvmi.tv, with your gift of support, or write to us at Jewish Voice, Post Office Box 6, Phoenix, Arizona 85001.
Welcome back. My guest host, Shea Wilbur, and I are talking with senior Israeli diplomat and former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Danny Ayalon. You wanted to go back to something.
What can we do just in our daily lives? And for those of us watching, those who are watching, how can we be that voice for Israel of support when it seems like there's so much inaccuracy surrounding
Shea, this is a great, great question, because each and every one of us can be an ambassador for the truth, can be really an apostle, a man of God. And what we cannot ignore is the strength, the power of the lies. We should repeal any lie. Every time there is a lie, we should be there and just correct the records. And social media is very powerful. The millennials, all they get, all their information is from the social media. This is why our detractors know it. And they come with all this fake news. And we have to be vigilant. And every time we see something like, we have to correct the
We need more spokespeople. Your age.
But I think today it's quite easy, because if we share and make the truth viral, this is a great, powerful shield that we can have if we all use it.
Indeed. Ambassador, we exhort people on this program, every program, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Talk about the greatest threats. What are the greatest threats that Israel is facing today, so we know how to pray?
Well, I would say 3 threats. One is Iran. The Ayatollahs of Iran have not given up their ambition to destroy Israel. And they're still trying in different ways to build an enormous nuclear infrastructure. Unfortunately, the deal that was made with them a year and a half ago was a bad deal, because it really keeps their capabilities, and it leaves the implementation of the deal is to the goodwill of the Iranians. So whenever they decide, they can just abort.
I think that'll be changing. We hope and pray that'll be changing.
So Iran. Second one is the Palestinian terrorism. So we have to pray against the Palestinian terror and the Palestinian ambition and war against Israel, BDS. All these things is all part of the same policy. And we have the best tool in our hand. We have the truth. All we have to do is tell it. Tell the facts as they are. And then their entire theory will crumble, because they do not have the truth. It is so easy to show how they lie, how they manipulate, how they create facts, how they want to reverse and revise history.
You can make a difference. You're watching this program for a reason, and God wants you to intervene. I really believe that. There's some of you that He's actually calling to a ministry of standing with Israel and making the truth known. So, Ambassador, just the 3 things that we're really going to be focused on prayer, and we'll continue: the threat of Iran, and keeping them from developing nuclear capacity, because they'll attack Israel. They've made that clear, and I believe them. Palestinian terrorism, and then the third.
Radical Islam, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they are trying also to attack us, because they understand that the Jewish people, the Jewish state, is the last stop they have before getting into Europe and even further to here.
Ambassador, we don't have much time. Really quick, your outlook on our new administration with President Trump concerning Israel. Are you hopeful?
I'm very hopeful. I think we're going to see a renewed energy of the relationship. I think that this natural alliance between Israel and the United States is going to really flourish more for the benefit of both our countries. It's just 2 street ways. We are very, very honored to be your friend and ally. And I believe what we do in terms of contribution to American national security and national interest is also very great.
Ambassador, I hope so, because from a biblical point of view, America needs Israel, not the other way
Yeah.
around. I will bless
need you
those
more.
that bless my people, and God is a covenant-keeping God. I want you to hear that again. Our God is a covenant-keeping God. He made an eternal promise to preserve the Jewish people and then restore them back to their land, and He's doing it. Well, guess what? He has made promises to you that He'll never leave you, He'll never forsake you, and He will fulfill those promises as well. He is a covenant-keeping God. And I really encourage you, if you're weak in faith right now, just to reach out and ask God to restore you. And if you've never invited God into your life, He wants to be living inside of you. He has a destiny for your life. So I really want to encourage you, find and fulfill that destiny. If you have prayer needs, just know that we're here for you. You can log on to our website. It's jewishvoice.tv. And just know God loves you, and so do we. This week we're celebrating one of the most important feasts or festivals, or we say in Hebrew, Moadim, the appointed times of the Lord. And I'm talking about Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, this isn't just a Jewish festival. This isn't just a Jewish holiday. This is about the whole world, because the Bible says in the millennial reign of the Messiah, all of us will worship in Jerusalem on Sukkot, on the Feast of Tabernacles. This is the final fall feast, and you can read about this in Leviticus chapter 23. It's prophetic. It's talking about the final ingathering. This was the ingathering feast. This was the great final harvest when the Israelites celebrated because of God's bountiful provision. And how do we celebrate? We do it in booths or tabernacles for 7 days, and we remember God provided for us in the Exodus. We celebrate with fruits and under the Sukkot, and fresh fruits like grapes and apples, and we remember God's provision. And He wants us to remember His provision as well. So I encourage you to find out more. We have great resources about the feasts and how they prophetically speak of what's yet to come and how Yeshua fulfills them or will fulfill them. You can go to our website. It's jewishvoice.tv to find out more. So have a great Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot, and I'll see you in Jerusalem on the feast. We want to thank senior Israeli diplomat Danny Ayalon for joining us today. And as I do on every program, I want to close by reminding you what Psalm 122:6 says, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love thee. Which reminds me, by the way, Shay, Jewish Voice is going to Jerusalem.
I want to come.
We're going to Jerusalem. We're going to be right at the Western Wall, right at the Temple Mount, with thousands of Israelis to celebrate. It's going to be incredible. Well, our time is up for today. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Bernis with guest host Shay Wilbur saying shalom.
God bless.
God bless you. Ambassador, wonderful. Thank you.